All right. See you later. I laugh, but really on the inside it's just pain and suffering and a life truly marked by a myriad of losses. And the pain sometimes would eat me alive and change my character. And at the end of the day, I can't help it. It would just be nice if someone took me serious.
Just look into the eyes of the people that you love. Not me.
What? Just listening.
And today we have Thor, Love and Thunder. Better late than never, right? Again, the train has already left Motivation Station.
This close to falling off the deep end. I know I'm smiling right now, but the light inside me is dying.
Thor, Love and Thunder is a movie that I was not very excited about seeing. I got issues with how the MCU handles Thor, which I'll delve into a little bit. This is my hot take. I never really liked Ragnarok. I'm not saying Ragnarok is a bad movie per se. Just back when Ragnarok happened, I was watching it, and the jokes are coming a mile a minute. And whenever the serious beats happened, there wasn't really any room to take it seriously because they were just playing every single other moment for a joke in that film, and just the pacing of that didn't work for me, and a few other things, but we're not here to talk about that today. Love and Thunder, a Thor post-Infinity War, post-Endgame, kind of going around with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and now about to go do his own thing, but also getting drawn into a conflict of, as Marvel films do now, a conflict of intergalactic proportions. Thor, Love and Thunder is directed by a guy that I like a lot, Taika Waititi. He directed this. I wish he would be given, or he would do more serious things. Don't get me wrong, he handles comedy well. Oftentimes, I feel like he's typecast, like they keep giving him these silly characters just to give a voice to and to be the comedic relief. But, I mean, come on, this is the guy that brought us Jojo Rabbit. Like, there's definitely quality to be had there, not just the who's and the ha-has and all that. Who are the stars? How could you not know Chris Hemsworth, right? Household name-ish, pretty sure. Reprising the role as Thor. Also worth mentioning, they have Natalie Portman as the love interest coming back from the original Thor films. When I say original Thor films, I mean the MCU Thor movies. And man, do I love the gal that plays Valkyrie. Just worth mentioning. No matter how good or bad, whatever it is she's in, she still is great. The highlight of the cast for me, and I'll get into him in a minute, was actually, I forgot Christian Bale was cast in this, but Gore, the God Butcher, yeah, he's probably the best part of this film in my opinion. Going into it, I was worried it was going to be the same or worse than Ragnarok. Yes and no. I kind of have an idea of the consensus of the opinions of this film, where Ragnarok was very much joke, and you didn't have enough beats for the drama, or the beats weren't long enough aside from, Odin and whatnot. Love and Thunder, it gives you these beats, like plenty of moments where things kind of die down and the drama comes up, or the emotion, the character, but I think it's just a shitty script, because it feels like these actors are just kind of oftentimes just reading their lines. They're really trying to shoehorn all of Thor's development into this, like his newest development into this one film. Thor, this man has lost arguably more than all the everybody. Everybody's crying for Iron Man. Iron Man lost like Tom Holland and some Avengers, and then we all cried for him. Thor lost daddy, mommy, brother, technically sister, his home, his friends, his brother several times. The list goes on. Thor is, in my opinion, probably the most traumatized member of the Avengers. And what happens every time that he's faced with this type of hardship and adversity? It's played off for laughs. The man got depressed and put on pounds, and we're like, oh, look at him, he looks like the Big Lebowski. And it's like, bruh, this guy is hurting, he's suffering. And even in this movie, he's like, I'm going to get back into it. And he starts hitting the gym again and all that. He's going out there. He's kicking ass, taking names and all this. And yet throughout this entire film, even during this series, like, he gets some serious moments, which is good. But so much of his trauma is still played for laughs. And I get it, believe me. All my trauma, it converted into sarcasm, wit, comedy. I'm a sad motherfucker, but I'm also a funny motherfucker. So I get that. But I mean, this is a bit different. People at least still have sympathy and empathy for my plights and hardships and vice versa. People don't just make my tragedies out to be comedy 24/7. But the best part about this for me is Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. Granted, his character development and subsequent arc are really rushed, and from what the rumor mill has to say, it's because there were hours of footage left on the cutting room floor, so I guess release the Waititi cut. But apparently there's supposed to be more room for his character to also breathe and develop. But because Christian Bale is a powerhouse of an actor, you can give him even the shittiest script and he's gonna make it at least good. He just plays it really well. And at the same time, I like the aesthetic of Gore, right? A frail to light build, like starving, impoverished, on the edge of death man who is then granted the powers of like a god of with this like death sword god killing sword. It's a thing. And so every time that he's in a fight or doing his powers, you know, he either summons big CGI beasts in like a knight's pose, or there's some decent sword playing choreography as he fights like literal gods and people, where he's spinning around and there's like he's parrying the hammer and shit. Like that stuff was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But on that off note as well, I always hate it when movies like this defer to random CGI blob or indistinct yet vaguely like dog-shaped creature monsters or whatever. This film does have like enemies, like people, and also kind of Jim Henson puppets here and there. But for the most part, once Gore becomes a major threat, it's a lot of these big blobby weird random shapes and all this, which only make for like one cool scene, like a fight in the Shadow Realm, literally. But aside from that, like, just kind of defer to him for the cool stuff. Now, I'm not a complete sourpuss. I do like humor in my Marvel films, and I would be lying if I didn't say that this film did not make me laugh at least once or twice. There were a few moments where I either chuckled or audibly was like, okay, like it just... There were laughs evoked. Probably the funniest bit involving Thor's hammer and this whole, like, if you've seen it, you know the bit where it just... The first time that happens was probably the loudest I laughed in the entire film. A lot of the film's comedy doesn't quite do it for me. Some of it almost overstays its welcome. But overall, I mean, more or less, the film is pretty great. There's this bit at the end I like with the kids and this girl and her bunny rabbit and all of this. Like, I'm not heartless. There are funny moments in this film. Things happen too easily and too conveniently. Goals of our heroes are achieved. Not to say there aren't walls hit or hardships. There definitely are hardships. But just, I feel like a lot of this film ends, like, things just happen eventually and too conveniently for the characters. I felt throughout this entire film, I felt no genuine sense of like fear or peril or anything. Like, I mean, granted, hard to get back to the levels that, you know, Endgame or Infinity War gave us, but yeah, I felt no stakes in this film. And when I feel no stakes, I have no investment and I just don't care. I'm just watching CGI fights and pretty colors and different random stuff going on, which it's not a bad film. It definitely is not any of my favorite Marvel films. I'm just worried that the MCU is losing its edge, and there's plenty of people that feel the same way. This film, if I look at it for more than 5 minutes, it has a plethora of plot holes. It's lacking in dramatic thematic material that I want to really, I say ground my characters, but give more to the character and give more to just the setting and just the everything. Like, it's just, I don't want to just keep going to these movies and flick popcorn in my mouth and watch these invincible people fly around screen and do shiny shit. Like, I would just watch Fast and Furious at that point. I want more content for this. And don't tell me they can't do it, because the MCU has and still can put out like decent hits and a few bangers here and there. Shang-Chi was great. I enjoyed everything except for the end of Moon Knight. Like, there's still modern examples of stuff Marvel has done that I became invested in, really enjoyed, think it's great cinema. But Thor Love and Thunder is definitely not one of those. It's serviceable. It's a fun film to watch, but only if you're just watching it for just fun. If I'm being fair, I would give Thor: Love and Thunder probably a low 3 out of 5. A low 3 out of 5. I think this film is below average. It's not dog shit by any means, but it's below average. I'd have to rewatch Ragnarok. It's been a minute, but I can't believe I'd be saying this, but I might have enjoyed Ragnarok more than Love and Thunder. But I mean, I did like the end of this one though, what it sets up for. Maybe not skip this one, maybe wait till Disney Plus. Wait till it comes out on Disney Plus. It's not a waste of time, but I wouldn't go out of my way to see it in theaters. There are plenty of other films better than it to see. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching my review, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review next, if I can muster up the initiative, the drive to do so. Goodbye, travelers.